I've only been there at this point, 7 months, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person. My director, she's a Black woman, and she's a part of it, and she'll leave the meetings and she'll Zoom call me in her pajamas, and and then start asking me questions, and then especially, you know, with my affiliation with the group that I'm a part of, I definitely don't want to talk about that here. But anybody who has done their Googles, because I think some of y'all have, y'all know, she tries to, you know, pull some juice out of me for it, and it's like, okay, I mean, it is what it is, but I also don't know how invested I am in my company, so I don't think it'll be beneficial right now for me to give y'all all of this. Mm-hmm. Especially with my company being a global organization, our CEO being from Jordan. Like, he don't have no idea. He didn't really even speak on any of it until August. Like, it was just like,
after he got the templates from all the other companies.
Basically,
doesn't it seem like they all just sent it out to each other? Like, this is the outline that we're taking, because it's just like, when they brought in the consultant, they weren't even asking our resource group to be a part of the conversations. How are you going to try to help us when you don't know what we need?
Well, they don't know where to start, and I'll say that, and I can understand that, and I know that plenty of things.
But you have to start with the Black people. That's where you have to. So I will say we also experience that. So even though we have a Black business resource group that we've been a part of, they created another one, like, hastily, as if one wasn't already standing up, and they continued to build it without our input. And because we had a conversation, and I was like, you know what? If this continues this way, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away because I don't like what's happening here. So Black people didn't just start working here when George Floyd died.
Right. I thought y'all was majority Black for real. I was like, every time I see them niggas in the sea of green,
we just roll deep.
It's a bunch of Black people.
It's a bunch of niggas nigging. Yeah, it is true.
Oh my.
That is. So, like, no, she's for real. I mean, I was like, ooh, hey, y'all.
And it's a bunch of Black women. So every single time, love to see it. And that's how we are. And it's almost like you at the cookout and you look and you like, wait, it's a new Black girl here. Come on over, sis. Come on. You with the group now. But they created a new group. They didn't talk to us, and they started building the plane as it was flying. Wait, hold on. Y'all got to take a step back, because this is now an enterprise-wide initiative, which is great. I'm glad that you guys have woken up, and that is fine. But why are you not including the people who've been doing the work?
Ben's on the work, boo.
And you just basically circumvented us as if we didn't exist. Yeah. And if that's the case, that's fine, but you can do it without me.
Yeah.
And I hope that you know that the people who've already been sitting here at the table doing all of these initiatives separate of our real jobs that actually get paid bi-weekly. Why? And where do you think you're going to find this new slew of Black people that are going to step in? And how come our group wasn't already good enough?
Right. So do you think they wanted to pick and choose? Yeah, I was about to say, do you think you wanted to pick and choose because we was too Black for you?
Exactly.
You thought we was going to come in our Black Panther shirts and our kente cloth and our you couldn't handle it.
They were looking for a certain personality type. They asked questions, and from there, they wanted to build a group that would be palatable.
You wanted a corporate Uncle Tom
counterparts,
right?
You know,
and they probably looked at those surveys from last year when I was like, "People of color." What are we talking about right now? Not the Black History event.
Color,
and that's Black. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So it seems like it's similar in all the organizations. They're trying, but it's just like, I mean, and it goes back to our conversation last episode about compassion fatigue. You know, we're tired of talking about it. The white folks are tired of hearing about it. They're tired of these trainings. What else these niggas got to tell us? Like, we got it. Y'all not picking cotton no more. Aren't you happy? Like,
we weren't slave owners. Right. We didn't do that.
Oh my goodness, it wasn't me. I have a black neighbor. Okay, shut the hell up.
But it's like you can already tell that's what they want to say sometimes.
All the time they'll be like,
yo, they was like, oh, but I used to have a best friend in kindergarten.
But now they know, I can't say that, can I? Because Chelsea Handler put out that Netflix thing. I watched that Chelsea Handler, and yeah, she can't do that. And she dated that 50 Cent guy who likes Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So yeah, she knows stuff. What? Fucking. All right, one more. I have one more question. I'm sorry. I'm going because I'm starting to get away. My second question is: do you think that there's a way to put a fresh spin on how we approach potentially dismantling systematic barriers that stand in the way of people who look like us, Black people, advancing as fluidly as our counterparts? And I know we talked about Tad and Chad before and how, they're giving graces and their uncles and daddies set them up a certain way. But within these organizations, and right now with the promotion of diversity, equity, and inclusion, do you think that there is a hand-in-hand, plan for allowing for more advancement within organizations that are generally, fully white leadership or, it lacking color? I'll say that.
So
ain't no black people.
I cannot.
Ain't no black people. I think most companies are going to be intentional, especially when they are going to hire, and I'm just hoping it's just not going to be a checkbox. Like, okay, check, we got another Black person in a position. But I think a lot of things are going to be intentional because they know, especially in the corporate world, all eyes are on everyone.
Oh, for sure.
I'm hoping that it's not going to be a checkbox, but sometimes I feel as though like it's going to be that, and it started off that way. I mean, like now all of a sudden we're off Martin Luther King. We were never off Martin Luther King. So I feel like we just have to, it's going to take time. It's not going to be something like, it's not going to be microwavable. It has to take time. And I think a lot of people just want to put things in place now just to make it all go away. And it's not going to happen. But I think it's going to take patience from all parties. And I think it's just going to take, consistency. And when something doesn't make sense, or I think a lot of times when we see things and it just doesn't make sense, or we feel some type of way, we just keep it going and act like we don't see it. But it's going to take a lot of like, nah, that shit don't make sense. Nah, this is not going to work for me. I feel bothered by this. And I think that's the only way anything is going to change. But I definitely think it's possible because like there's a lot of people in the corporate world, they're old. Mm-hmm. They eventually are going to phase out of it. So I think the next generation, which is us, that's already in there, and the ones coming up behind us, we kind of have a new mindset to make it doable. Because it's definitely doable. It's just you got to get these old ass, grumpy ass white men out the way. But
they ain't going nowhere till they die.
Well, never mind. Let me stop. I said I was going to be good.
Yeah, they should go home to be with their things.
I ain't even going to say it. I've been very good at being me, not me. I want to say, okay. No, I just think it's going to take.
Why are you not going to be? This is your goddamn podcast.
I know. But I am trying not to be so angry.
This is our space. You going to say what you want to say?
Basically, okay. These white men gotta die somehow, some way. I don't know.
Go home to be with their things. That's what I said.
No,
yeah,
he should go home to be with his things.
I don't even want you to be with your things. Just go. That's why. See, but y'all wanted me to say something, though, didn't you?
You don't want him to drop dead in the office. He could go home to be with his things and drop dead there.
I mean, you can travel faster. I'm just saying, but it just has to be an action plan, and these old white men got to get it out of the way, and that's everywhere. That's in every business aspect. Y'all just got to go and get out the way because I think their old mindset is slowing the process down. Yeah.
Okay.
By a white man.
So, I think that it's two parts. I think that the first part of it is kind of like Jen said, they only provided the business resource group business resources to certain departments.
Okay.
And my question in that would be, well, what departments were excluded? Because if we're excluding the more entry-level roles, then you're already discounting a large group of people who need the resources the most.
Which it was.
And right. And we all know that a lot of times those areas are where the bulk of the minorities are. So you're doing them a disservice. I think that when we have these groups, they are great, but the same people are getting access to the resources and the knowledge. So we have to change that. And that's an easy change. That's not a change that it doesn't cost anything. It's just time. It's just revamping the approach. And I think that that's also been one of our goals with my group at the company, is to make sure that we're getting into the contact center. Because I do feel like a lot of times, because that's where the hourly employees are, they don't get the opportunity to be able to like take off, log off, and come to an hour session. But I think we have to meet them where they are.
Exactly.
There's a way to be able to provide this information to them. And if we need to be creative to do it, well, we got to put our time into doing that. And that's where the executives have the pool. If you're the executive and the head of the call center, what are you going to do to make sure that your people are promotable? That you should want that. You should want that more than anyone, so that you don't have to be like the Wells Fargo guy talking about there's no promotable Black people in this company. That is on you to fix. So I think that is where we need to start, from that end of the spectrum. From the top tier of the spectrum, another thing that is being implemented now, metrics. Hold these people accountable. Numbers are tangible. So you need to set, like, I know that we're saying, I think we're supposed to be having an increase of Black executives. I think it's supposed to double by next year. It's maybe next year, or maybe
let me go ahead and apply to that job. I saw, like I said,
and to me, I like that. But then again, we do have to remember, okay, if it's only 2 of us, okay, now you're saying there's gonna be 4 of us. Okay, 50% sounds good, but it's something. So at least when we put numbers to it, we can say, are we hitting our goals? And then when people are not hitting their goals, what are you going to do to hold them accountable? Because they're even going as far now as breaking it down and looking at the metrics by business line. And there are some business lines where it's very clear you guys have a lack of diversity.
It's all
clear. Now we're trying to get to the bottom of, well, why is it that way? Is it because the recruiting efforts are not being handled appropriately? Are we skipping people? Are we not giving job shadow opportunities? What is the case? How come your group can't get it done, but these other groups can? And now they are starting to hold people accountable. I think that's the best thing that I have heard in a long time.
That's really good.
Like, put metrics to it. Y'all like to count everything else? Let's count this.
Also, I think, like you said, as far as executive level, that is important. That's an important part of it, because you like to put Black people in a lot of customer facing positions, but you don't like to put them in leadership roles, actually, making the decisions and benefiting from having the actual equity in the company and being able to leverage that for any outside organizations they're a part of. It is difficult to feel like you're actually needed in an organization when the further you look up, it's like, nah,
less and less.
Right.
Y'all not me.
And the crazy part,
and that sphere of influence.
Yeah. And the crazy part is, even kids in school, they know about it, because I did like a career day the other day, and like they were like, "Wait, you're not on the call center? You're not, in a retail store?" You're like, "No, I legit have a position where if you had to rank it, it's not an entry level position." And they don't see that because it's not promoted anywhere. It's not shown anywhere. They don't know anything. And it's just like, well, and then we're like, well, did you have to go to school? No, it's just experience. You have to be in the right place at the right time, unfortunately. But it's good that we kind of have to like let kids know that it's obtainable. And I think that's also something that has to change, even down to high school level is that when you go into the schools and you're trying to recruit for businesses, they're the next generation coming up behind us. If they don't know anything or know any better, change can either stall out or not occur or revert back to what it was.
I agree.
Yeah.
We got to show their kids that there's other things. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with being in retail. There's nothing wrong with being a bank teller.
Started there, but